I first started. I codified it. I once went to give a presentation to a bunch of MBA students, and they asked me about what entrepreneurship means to me. And I said to them, for people hearing the first time, I said to me, "You're born," and I drew a line on the board, and I said, "You're born."
Wait,
and
pause there.
Yeah.
Because you're literally walking into one thing I prepared, which is a question around that.
Sure. Okay, let's go.
So
I'm walking into it.
you're literally walking into it.
All right. Oh, damn. That's what it is. That's exactly what
right
it is.
here.
That's what it is.
And yes, before you continue, because that's perfect. I put it up here because I remember seeing this for the first time.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Literally, you spend all this time at work.
Yeah.
You spend all this time sleeping.
Yes.
And then that's it. Then you're dead.
Then you're dead.
Then what happened to your life?
That's only your life. And by the way, like that assumes that work part assumes that like you work 8 hours a day,
Yeah, true.
5 days a week. Now, if you're like me, that orange line, that's exactly where it is. It's like halfway through the life thing.
Yeah.
And so you end up with this tiny bit and you're like, wait a minute, that what I'm left with is like 12 years only.
Yeah.
And that 12 years is from like that when I'm like 70 to when I'm 82, which is, whatever my average life expectancy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to only live when I'm 72 to 82.
Yeah.
I want to live now.
Yeah.
So I had to think about it. Again, like I had to think about it from a macro point of view. And my approach to a lot of these things that I do in life is now anything that's worth thinking about is just think about it top down. Because when you're going, like you use any analogy, if you're going through a forest, if you're driving on the road, if you're building a company day in, day out, it's always easier to look at it top down. Look at the forest and you're like, oh, that's the best pathway here.
Yeah, that's right.
Look at the road and you're like, oh, that's the long way here. Let me go through a shortcut here. It's always, so when I look at my life top down, this is what I see. One on the left-hand side, I'm seeing what I'm told.
Yeah.
This is what I grew up being told. You need to strive for work-life balance. So maybe let me explain this for people who are seeing the first time. So you're born, and what this shows is you're born, and 700 hours later, you die. That's your average life expectancy, more or less, across OECD. So you sleep for about 230,000 hours, assuming you sleep for 7 to 8 hours a day. You work for 170,000 hours. That's assuming you work 9 to 5 cents after you graduate until you retire. And then the remaining is your life. And why did I draw this? I drew this because I was like, okay, so people tell me about work-life balance, and this is what that means. I'm sleeping, so I can't have work-life balance when I'm sleeping. Yeah. But in the remaining time when I'm not sleeping, I have work-life balance. So let me put my work into one bucket and we'll put my life into the other bucket, and then I have to have balance between them. So I go to work, that's what you're told. You go to work, you go home, then it's like your life.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and was like, wait a minute, that sucks. First of all, I work more than that orange. But even if you didn't, that's like a third of my life. That green thing is only a third of my life.
Yeah.
But I want the whole thing that I'm not sleeping to be my life. Like I want the whole thing to be my life. And what does my life mean to me? So I started mapping out what it means to me. And that's the right-hand side. My life means to me my family, because that's the most important thing to me. Mm-hmm. Passion. I'm passionate about a lot of things that sometimes have nothing to do with my work. Yeah. Sometimes they intersect, and it does have to do with my work. For example, I'm passionate about a football club. Yeah. Or football as in general, as sports. And that might intersect because, at Parrot, we happen to also do sports. So that intersects. But sometimes it doesn't. It's about having fun. It's about working hard because I enjoy that. I enjoy creating something. And I know anything of value to create usually is we have to work hard. It's not easy. Yeah. It's about making an impact. And it's about changing the world, which is how we started this conversation. Yeah. About changing the world. But for me, these are all different pieces that come together. And all of those pieces, when they come together, I wanted that to be my life. Yeah. So I mapped this first for me. And the first time that I presented it publicly was at this, as I mentioned, this MBA program that I was teaching at. And they asked me, like, hey, explain what entrepreneurship means to you. And I said to them, that's what it means to me. That's why I choose to do what I do, is because I want everything to, I want everything that I do to fit within my life.
Right.
And so the culture that we designed for people is the right-hand side, not the left-hand side. That is, it's intertwined. So there's a lot of workplaces, and again, this is not to say there's a right and wrong way of doing it. There's a lot of places where you go to where there's a very strict 9 to 5, show up, you clock in, you swipe in your card, they look at your hours, you go home, and then you're done. That's just not the way that we operate. Why? Because I know that if something's important to me, and it could be something trivial in the grand scheme of things. What is trivial? Trivial is my favorite football. To stick with that example, my favorite football team is playing. But for me, it's important.
Yeah.
I like it's I have fun with it. It's passionate. I get like worked up. Sometimes I swear, it's a part of life. But we're both big football family. So that for me is important. Maybe for you, it's taking your daughter to her swimming class.
Yeah.
And that her swimming class just happens to be 11 in the morning. Wouldn't it be nice if like you weren't like, oh fuck, I can't take my daughter to and then you feel shit about that because you have to be at work.
Yeah.
That just sucks. Well, can you wait? Can you just take your daughter, take your daughter to her, class, drop her back, and then whatever, it's going to take you 2 hours all up. Can't you do those 2 hours later in the evening? Well, if you can, then why not? Well, some places don't let you do that.
No.
And so I wanted to build a place that worked for me, first and foremost, that reflected what I believed we should approach and how I wanted to approach my life. And then I was really clear, and I am really clear about it with people that says, this is who we are, this is who we are not. And if you join, this is what it means you will join. And if this is what you're expecting, this is not what we are. So this is not the place for you. And it's just level setting expectations. And that means that just like no one's going to ask any questions if you say, hey, I'm going to take my daughter to her swimming class at 11 a.m. Like, cool,
Yeah.
At the same time, sometimes someone might be like, hey, Esther, I need your help tonight with this something that I'm working on for tomorrow to present tomorrow. And you have to have the flexibility.
Yeah.
To be able to I got you, move things around at home, and then I'll help you out with it tonight. And so it's flexibility. That's all it is. It's flexibility so that it's all your life. Now that means that what you do, you have to enjoy what you do, be passionate about it, make an impact. And so that's why for me, we're always pushing. We have to push the boundaries of what we're doing and the impact that it's having, because otherwise it's not worth doing. It's not worth doing. I'd rather do something else. And so one place that we will never become is a place where we have a product and we sell it and we just make money off it and everyone just shows up to work and so on. No, we have to always push our ambitions higher and have grander ambitions and want to achieve more and have more impact and so on. Because our goal is ultimately to change the world and make an impact.